Okay, welcome back to part two of the Nerdy Gunner Show. What were we talking about? I can't remember.
We
Actually,
were talking about Star Wars and TikTok. That's what we were
there
talking
we
about.
go.
Obviously, we're still joined with Choco. He didn't leave us, fortunately. But obviously, we're going to go a bit more into Star Wars. Obviously, at the end of the first part, we spoke about the Star Wars TikTok community. Going a bit more onto the TikTok side of things, what genuinely made you want to start content in general? I know obviously you're on YouTube and all of that. What was the reason? Was there a specific reason or?
I've actually been wanting to make content for a long time. I realized a long time ago. Kind of my story is I had this. I've always been a huge Star Wars fan, and I started diving a lot more into the books and the lore and all this stuff. And I used to listen to a ton of Star Wars podcasts. And after a while, I realized a lot of what these people are saying is wrong. Like this was covered in this book here, and that was covered here, and then like, this person's prediction shows that they, which is not bad or anything. You don't have to, read all of them, but like, I should make content, and it's something I've always wanted to do. What's funny is like, I actually bought this mic, my HyperX Quadcast, before I'd ever made any Star Wars content, because I was like, you know what, I need some skin in the game. I'm gonna buy a mic, and I had a friend who she has a podcast, and she was doing a May the 4th episode, and so she was recording it the day before, and that was the first thing I was on to talk about Star Wars. Okay. And then the next day, later that day, I made my first 2 TikToks. And then,
did you blow up straight away, or was it
like
a gradual thing?
I actually did. So on Twitter, there was this thing where someone like posted, how come R2D2 just didn't tell Luke that Vader was his father? And people were talking about it like, oh, it's the biggest plot hole. No one's ever thought about this. And I was like, R2 wasn't there for any of it, and R2 never met Vader in anything,
I think that's what I followed you from. I think I followed you from a video.
Really? Okay. So I made that video. I think I made two videos that same day. That was one of them, and then that one got like 300,000 views.
Oh, that was.
And then I was like, oh, this is easy. and then I never did anything that big for like months, and it made me sad. But like, getting that right off the bat was also a pretty good motivator.
Yeah. Do you reckon the fact you like that first video done so well is the reason you continued doing it, or do you reckon you would have done it anyway?
No, because there are months where it's just like a grind, and you're getting, I have like 140,000 followers, and I'll make a video and it'll get like 500 views, and you're like, how?
Yeah.
How? But no, I just had fun with it. And also the way I think about it is it's information. Like most of the videos I make are ones that are bursting out of me. I'm not actively looking like, okay, what video am I going to make today? I'm like, oh man, I'd love to talk about this, and that's kind of what this has become, an outlet.
Bloody hell. Yeah, that's completely fair to be like, because I mean, obviously you have more followers than me and Connor combined, and I've followed you for a while, probably not as much as long as Connor, and I know we've been mutuals for a little while now, and this is the first time we've spoken, and I know a couple of times like I've said like in like a live stream or something like that, like we need to do something, and obviously we're finally doing that. But was there ever a point where you have considered stopping like TikTok because of like the community, like toxicity, or does it not phase you at all?
all the time.
Yeah.
I actually do think about stopping all the time, but I just think about how many and I feel like I'm only incidental in it because a lot of these people are amazing creators that would have been doing big things regardless.
Mm.
But starting the High Ground podcast is really what has me still going
Yeah.
because I keep being able to, like, these are the nerdy conversations that I want to have with people in my regular life,
Mm.
just on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And like now it's become where watching people's content connects me with people to have those conversations with, and so it becomes a big cycle. And also I love because on the High Ground podcast it's different than Dyad, where Dyad is always me and Element and you maybe one more person. The High Ground is me and three different people or four different people, and seeing those people interact with each other,
Yeah.
and then they become friends, and then they start doing stuff, and it like becomes this big explosion of like people who want to interact with Star Wars in a positive way.
Yeah.
The other thing that made me want to create content in the first place is seeing how negative the conversation was online, where you're like, do these people even like Star Wars? Like, and it's just a byproduct of like how the monetization works, and it's easier to make money being negative than it is to be positive, but that's harmful to the community. So as long as the toxicity is irritating, but seeing these awesome people come together and the positivity like moving forward is what keeps me going. And also also I feel like we've turned a specific corner when it comes to the toxicity. In the early days we weren't sure if Lucasfilm was going to have to change direction.
Oh really?
Now we know that they're not. Right, they've put so much money behind certain things, and so now a lot of toxicity is just funny. Like it's so dumb that it's funny. And so like I don't know, some of the people that hate things, and it's like that was 5 years ago. I'm like, don't ever change. I want 10 years to pass and you're still like, I hate this movie from 15 years ago, and people like, okay, Grandpa, like it's time for bed.
Take the pills, piss off.
I need to quickly bring up something here, guys. I've been searching through Choco's profile and I found the video where you and Harrison first met.
Oh god!
So it's the video that was also became an emo in Element 7's chat. So I'm gonna turn the volume up. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted.
Wait, what? I remember this one. I remember this.
I do remember this.
And then Choco like a big grin. And that big grin that Choco puts out is now an emote in Element 7's chat.
Was it? I will be claiming royalties for that.
All links.
Yeah, no, wow, that is actually bloody hell. Because I know I made a couple videos like that, didn't I?
I think that you done Choco some views there. You got Choco a lot of views. Like you got like
the reason Choco is as big as he is.
I appreciate it.
I am the entire reason. All right.
Yeah.
No, I've always appreciated you and the comments. Like I'm always like, oh, like I see the Spider-Man profile picture and like, oh, there's Harrison.
I appreciate it. Like honestly, because I'll be completely honest, you changed my mind on The Last Jedi.
Oh.
Because ironically, I have a Rose pop figure up there, and the reason it's the irony behind it is the fact initially I really disliked her character, and I just disliked I walked out of The Last Jedi initially and thought it was terrible, and I had it in my mind that it was terrible until like you started talking about it and other people started talking about it, and I started to think like, damn, am I just like, have I turned one of these haters? So I sat down, rewatched it, and to be completely honest, you changed my opinion on that film. And I just want to say, I want to ask, did you love that film from the first time you saw it, or was it like you grew to love it?
Mhm.
Oh, I was sitting there with my buddy Austin, and the movie ends, and I look over, I'm like, man, people are gonna love this film. Like,
no.
that's what I said to him. And yeah, so I personally loved it straight away, but I've always been pretty able to compartmentalize my thoughts.
Yeah.
So like divorcing what I thought was going to happen or expecting to happen, and letting the movie happen to me, and then taking just that and like breaking that down. I think that was part of it. But what's funny is I actually had the opposite when Rise of Skywalker came out.
Oh, really?
Because I actually was one of those people that I hated the movie, and I was gonna tell everyone I know how much I hated it and why I hated it. And like people, the conversation isn't even about that, but I'm gonna get it there, like that type of thing. And then until I did that same thing, I was like, you know what? I was expecting this. Let me take that out of my mind, and I'll set it here. It's like if you're chewing a piece of gum and you're gonna eat something and you like set it on the side of the plate. I'll pick that up later, but let me just watch this for what it is. And then all of a sudden, like, it clicked. I was like, oh, yeah, these are all just about the difference between blood and legacy. And are you entitled to something just because you're blood, or is it the person who's putting in the work to carry on the legacy that really deserves it? Which are the two? And then when you realize that, you're like, oh, I guess all three movies actually do tell a cohesive story of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis and then it just clicked. And now, that being said, overall the sequel trilogy is still my least favorite, but it being my least favorite doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
What was I was gonna say, do you touched on it a little bit there? Do you think that is something fans of like comic book films, Star Wars, and stuff like this need to kind of learn to get over, in the fact that what you expect and what you want to happen will not or might not happen, but you can still like a film if it doesn't happen? Like, because I feel like that is an issue, especially with WandaVision, with Mephisto.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that is something we need to learn to grow past?
Man, the WandaVision days, those were wild. Like the theories were so deep and intricate, and just none of them happened.
I kind of loved that though. That was so cool. Just seeing so many people. It got a bit boring when it was like Mephisto's that fly on the wall. It's gotta be.
And while I don't agree with the whole Ralph Boner situation, I people do need to learn to let go, because if your headcanon is going to just run amok, in that way. And especially comic book fans, there's always going to be reimagining and retelling of specific characters. And the funny thing is, more often than not, the version that people love and have in their heads is not the original version. When Batman came out, he used guns, and it was like a mobster type thing.
I think that is fair. Like, people do need to accept that, like, the thing you love probably wasn't original. Like, it has changed over many, many years. But obviously certain people will be too stubborn to accept that, I feel.
Superman originally couldn't fly, right?
I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know
that's why they say he can leap over tall buildings in a single bound. Who cares if you can fly? The only reason he can fly, and the only reason kryptonite are a thing, is because they use kryptonite on a radio show just as a foil because there's like we don't know what else to do. And the only reason he can fly is they made an animated short, and it was cheaper to animate him flying than it was to animate him jumping.
Oh man,
And
cool.
but then those just become part of the character, and now everyone loves it. But like all of these things had a start somewhere that was not at the beginning. It wasn't planned for. These things build and evolve. You know, these are modern mythologies. There's a reason that fairy tales and things are told generationally, and they're spread word of mouth, and they evolve over time because they're meant to teach people lessons about their period of time. And I think we need to understand that stories need to be able to breathe and do that.
Obviously we've got into books, so it leads straight into my next question.
Oh, here we go.
As someone who has never read a Star Wars book, what books would you recommend?
Star Wars.
Well, he's not gonna. I said Star. He's not gonna offer me a Harry Potter book, is he, Connor?
Well, he might.
Well, I wouldn't because I haven't seen all Harry Potter.
That's something I actually wanted to talk about after this. This is what I wanted. But what Star Wars books would you recommend?
So the first thing I would do is I would ask you, what's your favorite era? Who's your favorite character?
Favorite era, probably prequels.
And character,
it changes all the time. I love Chewie, and also obviously like Obi-Wan and stuff like that. But I love all the Star Wars. My favorite. Well, as a matter of fact, that is one of the first ones Element told me to get as well.
Absolute must read. One of the best ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. And for anyone who wants to get started reading, the beautiful thing about these canon books is they're being specifically planned to go alongside the films. If you read Master and Apprentice and then go watch The Phantom Menace as soon as you finish, it's a wonderful.
Will it make it a lot better then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that because I did that because Element told me to do that, and I did.
If we then just say, excluding prequels, what other books would you recommend?
So right now, the High Republic is phenomenal stuff, and we just finished the first wave, but like, and they're not coming back into it until like October. So. And when they do, it's 150 years in the past. So right now is a perfect time to catch up on it. And I'm telling you right now, the High Republic fandom is the best part of the fandom of Star Wars because you can't be a hater. You can't hate read a book. You know what I mean? You can hate watch a 30-minute episode of a TV show, but you can't hate read a book. Like the level of dedication would be astronomical. And so it's like a barrier for entry that keeps all these like toxic people at bay, and you can just like have a blast, but you're also on the forefront of this stuff. So like when people are like, hey, how does this work? I'm like, I don't know. Like this just happened, so it's really cool to be in this like new era of Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay. What about original trilogy based books? What would you recommend with that?
I mean, Lost Stars is like a must read for original trilogy. But Lost Stars is amazing. I really enjoyed the Tarkin book. I don't recommend it for most people because I think James Luceno writes books like an encyclopedia. Let's see what there's actually quite a few.
Yeah.
The Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older.
That's a really good book. I've read half of it already, and it's really good.
Yeah. That one gives you a little bit of flavor from like it starts right after Solo, the movie.
Okay.
Like there's 3 time periods, right? It's Han in the past, it's Lando in the past, and it's both of them in the present.
Okay.
So you get some just after Solo, you get some original trilogy, and you get some like sequel prior to
Okay.
sequel trilogy. Like you get naked Ben Solo running around saying
Oh.
Uncle Lando.
Wow.
He's like a toddler.
Don't worry, there's no pictures. There's no pictures.
What about sequel-based books? We'll get one from each one.
One from each one. All right. Yeah, if you're jumping to the sequels, I think the best thing to probably read is and there's surprisingly a lot of good stuff in this era, but Bloodlines. It's just so I never thought I would love a story about a middle-aged Princess Leia.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It is so good.
There's like no spoilers for this here, Harrison, but chapter 12, and I know it's not me, it's like I'm being very exact here, but chapter 12 is the best chapter of that whole book. Like I screamed throughout that whole chapter. So
you read it, there's people in the book, and you're like punching the wall, like I just want to hit you in the face.
yeah.
And
So-
yeah, it's a solid one.
So we mentioned it before we started recording everything that we were going to ask you a question. We had also asked Element, and see if you gave us the exact same answer.
There's a reason we're getting a bit excited by
That was the question about books. You gave me the exact same books to read that Element gave me. And now I feel like it would be rude of me not to buy any.
What he did recommend, though, that you didn't, is the novelizations. He recommends reading the novelizations because they give a bit more insight on the story. So,
Yeah, that is true. As far as the novelizations are concerned, definitely Rise of Skywalker. I think that one adds the most value.
Yeah.
Second to that is is going to be Last Jedi.
Okay.
The novelization of The Force Awakens, like the only added bits that you get from it is you actually get Poe's journey off planet.
Okay.
Because Poe crash landed too, and then no one talks. He just like no one really talks about how he got off. But even though it's not canon, the novelization of Revenge of the Sith is
it's not
incredible.
yeah, there's a bit in it which makes it not canon.
Yeah, and it's more that it was a blanket statement. Is like if it was written prior to this, it's not canon, because there's no way they could go into each and every book and like try and figure out exactly if this phrase or whatever like removes it. But the novelization of it by Matthew Stover is the most impactful on a movie in my opinion. I think it makes the Revenge of the Sith movie 4 to 6 times better. So if you already love it,
it's my favorite Star Wars film.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't particularly enjoy it, but reading that book made me excited to go watch it again. So that was a
fair enough
thing. And then me and Pep were talking about the Force Awakens novelization. We've both got a little theories on it, and we both say it's a really good read if you just want to start off by reading that as well, because if you're jumping straight into the sequels, it's good as well, because you can obviously start from Star Wars anywhere you want. You can start off the books, start off the movies, but like novelizations are also really good to start off with, and then it'll help you get confidence reading other books, and then you can read stories like independent stories on Star Wars that are not just about the main movies.
Get audio versions of these books?
Yeah,
absolutely. And also like Mark Thompson's audio is great. I mean, he doesn't read every single book, but he does do most of them. And so like if you're listening to like the audio version of The Force Awakens, for instance, when Rey is fighting Kylo Ren and actually taps into the Force, you hear the darkness, and then Mark Thompson just does Palpatine's voice, and he's kill him, and you're like, what? so that's why even back then I was like, oh yeah, Palpatine's coming back.
That's weird, because Elman said that as well. This is getting strange now.
You two are connected in one way or another. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about Star Wars. I wanted, because it's easy to talk to you, because obviously I know you love Marvel and stuff like that as well. You are just a nerd, and like, are you? What is your favorite MCU film? Start off with that.
Winter Soldier.
Good movie.
I agree. It is probably my favorite.
There's just a lot that movie does, and I know it's definitely not perfect, but but I think the imperfections that we see in the film are a product of us looking backwards at it.
Yeah.
When it came out, there was nothing like it, and it was so rock solid. Looking back at it, you're like, yeah, they gave Scarlett Johansson the shaft, and like, they may have been a bit of badness in there, but overall, incredible film.
Because I know you love Venom, don't you?
So much.
Yeah. So, right, I'm gonna bring something up because I've thought about it for ages, and I think if someone's going to be able to help me understand, or like I can talk to about it, end of No Way Home post-credit scene with Eddie Brock. I'm sorry, but why does a bit of Venom stay? To me, logically, from what my point of view, it doesn't make sense, because why should a bit of Venom, one, detached from Eddie Brock? I can kind of accept that happening, but then the symbiote inside of that is connected and combined to Tom Hardy. Why does he go? Why does that Venom go? But then the little smudge, the little bit of goo, why does that stay when the spell knows to take everything else away?
That, I believe, is them just fudging it largely.
Yeah.
I mean, you could there are several arguments that you could make that like the origin of okay, we're going here. All right, so like before the creation of the universe in the Marvel universe, you had like Gore the God Butcher, who created the all black Necro Sword, and everything is branching off. And technically, the symbiotes are like multiversal in their as an entity, not multiversal power scaling. I don't believe in power scaling. I think it's stupid, but that's a separate topic. So like the argument could be made that it was a small enough piece of Venom that it is not necessarily like fully sentient or has his full brain,
Yeah.
And so it would be the equivalent of like a button falls off your shirt. When you go back, does the button stay or does the button go? But over time, it could grow and then gain that and then be part of the universe. And I think that could be what's happening, and that it's not going to have all of Eddie Brock's knowledge or memories and stuff like that, because it's its own separate piece. But it's going to retain its quest for justice, and it was like obsessed with Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, where do you think we'll see the symbiote thing again in the future of MCU? Do you think we'll see it actually going at someone, or do you think it'll like be held in a bottle somewhere?
Who knows? Maybe the first. I mean, we now have it confirmed that Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy Eddie Brock that we know is not the same one in the MCU. We could get an MCU Eddie Brock that's a different person. And also I can definitely see Tom Holland's character, like, now that he has nothing and no one, his whole life is going to be Spider-Man for a long time, and that symbiote would help him to be Spider-Man. Of course, he starts to lose his humanity as part of it, and I think that could be a catalyst to help him want to develop Peter more.
That's fair. You've probably put that in the best way for me to like accept it a little bit more.
It's still just kind of fudging it though.
But would you say No Way Home is, in your opinion, the best Spider-Man film?
Spider-Man 2 is the best. Well, no, Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man film. But No Way Home is an amazing film. There's just a lot of. I always try to be aware of how much of my love from it is coming from it, or my love of Spider-Man 2 is what is propelling my love for this movie. Like whenever Alfred Molina was on the screen, he was electric.
Oh, you showing this again, are you?
I'm just going to get it out because it's just amazing too. It's just my
You don't need to wind me up.
Toby and Alfred Molina thing.
Did you buy that online? Did you buy that online? Or
cost me a fair bit.
Can you imagine?
But yeah, I love Spider-Man 2 so much. It is. Oh, it's perfect. I love it.
I need to watch Spider-Man 2 on Netflix. It's been a while since I watched it. I was scared of it when I was little. So
really,
I mean, Alfred Molina was a very scary man when I was younger. So
yeah, that's I love Andrew Visual's story of actually running into Alfred Molina, but he was a little kid, and they saw him on the subway in a trench coat.
Oh God.
And it scared the crap out of him because his mom's like, "Hey, look, it's Dr. Octopus." And he's like, "Oh no."
Oh,
I've
God.
seen how this plays out.
I can imagine.
But
oh no.
Yeah, I was scared of him. I was scared of Venom in Spider-Man 3 as well. So
I was not. I was just disappointed.
Yeah, I can imagine as big of a Venom fan as you are.
It gets to make you feel old, both years. I was 2 years old when Spider-Man 3 came out.
That's fair. That's fair. But
Making
yeah,
us feel old.
to me, the best parts of Spider-Man No Way Home come from the bits and pieces that were really, truly great about these other films. Therefore, I don't feel it truly stands on its own as a film because it requires you to love other films.
Yeah, that's fair. Obviously, we mentioned you love Venom. Out of the two Venom films, what one do you prefer?
The first one.
See, I'm the same. Connor?
I agree as well.
Because I rewatched the second one and I just find it really it's just a mess in my opinion. Like there's a huge Twitter thread on my Twitter, like where I just go in on it respectfully, obviously, but I just find it like a jumbled mess. Like I don't know if
it confused me a little bit because it was like very quick, and I feel like those scenes that should be added in, which I felt like the scenes were all in different places and they should have been rearranged and all. The story was a good idea, chasing down Carnage, but it was a bit.
I think they leaned like there was a major tonal shift, and I think the first movie had a very, very unique tone, because it was dark, but it wasn't really campy. It was like it was kind of campy, but like
it had its
weird,
moments.
just body horror type thing. And like the comedy bits of it, watching him jump into a tank and just eating lobsters just live. It's just like, what is happening? But the second one leaned so much into the comedy aspect of it that I felt it lost some of its specialness.
Yeah, I would say I wasn't a big fan of the Woody Harrelson casting as well. I felt a bit awkward every time he came on the screen.
Woody Harrelson in that role was the same as. Did you guys watch the Power Rangers movie from like 2017, something like that?
Oh no, I know who you're about to compare it to.
Yeah, I can't think of her name right now, but like it's the same thing where like they were perfect for this character, but in a different movie or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, completely agree.
Like they did it super well, but just not here. I don't know.
That movie was also very loud. When like Carnage screamed, I nearly shot myself.
See,
also a lot of it is a lot of the concept comes from the Lethal Protector storyline.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a cool Easter egg that they mentioned it in the first movie. And he said it 1,000 times in the second one. I'm like, stop it. Just, we get it. We get it. Like, stop. You're just rubbing it on my face at this point in time.
What was I say? So, lose my train of thought way too often. It is terrible. So, Carnage is my personal favorite Spider-Man villain. And obviously, you can tell from my profile and everything, like I'm a Spider-Man fanatic. It just really, although we probably never would have seen them meet, it just really annoyed me to see like Cletus get killed. It just aggravated me because it's like, I know, like I said, I know it was next to no chance of us ever seeing those two meet, like those versions, but it still kind of hit me like, oh, why? Like,
Yeah.
But again,
Also, what happened to the cop at the end? I actually didn't understand that.
Oh, he has he's in the comics, isn't he? He's a geezer who has powers, I think. I can't remember. That was like the most British way to explain that ever. He's a geezer who has powers.
You know what a geezer is? A geezer's just a person.
Oh, yeah. No, so like, because in the film, the cop like falls and lands on his back, and he's like lying on his back looking up, and then all of a sudden his eyes like flicker a different color, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Did you set that up somewhere? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it does feel like they just completely cut out why, like, something that happened.
Yeah.
I will say I'll definitely rewatch the movie though. I would watch Let There Be Carnage with like a few other people. I would go, this is my favorite movie. I'll watch it every day.
I think it's a good film to turn your mind off and watch.
Yeah.
Now, have you read all of the Donny Cates Venom run, like through?
I haven't personally.
His Carnage stuff.
When did that come out?
You should.
I'll add that to the list.
Yep, I will do that too because I'm starting to read comics a lot more as well.
The comic I'm currently going through is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. That's the one I'm currently reading.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it so far.
I'm just reading any comic I can see. I've got a Captain Marvel one. I've got a Civil War one. I've got like a Spider-Man life story.
That's a good one. I do like life story.
So Donny Cates took over Venom few years ago, and like made it this incredibly deep story about like their relationship, but it bleeds into a run called Absolute Carnage. Which I think you would really enjoy. So there's Absolute Carnage that turns into an event, and then all of it culminates and goes into the King in Black storyline, which is bonkers and amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Okay.
So obviously, there's one more question about Marvel Wars, and then we can wrap up if you want. I don't want to take too much time out of your day.
Yeah, you've got diet tonight, isn't it?
Obviously, I know. I know you've got time zones and stuff. It's earlier in the day for you. It's 10:20 here in the evening. If you could have one cameo in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, what cameo would you have from any live action character we've seen? Like bring in a character.
I will say the one that Element said last week was Strange. It came out like a random character. So
yes, it was quite random.
From any character that we've seen. That is an excellent question. I don't know if I were to bring someone in there, it would have to be Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Oh, okay.
I actually really enjoyed him as Beast, and at one point in time, Beast does sit on the Illuminati.
Cool.
And so, yeah, I think that could be an interesting one. But actually, I'm gonna have to take it back and go with the video I made recently. We need Laura Kinney. We need X-23. We need her to come back or be brought
Yeah.
in from the thing I want to see is those mutant kids at the end of Logan.
Yeah.
They are brought into the MCU. So they have their own history where they know what happened to mutants in their past.
Yeah.
And how everyone turned against them. And they get brought over into this universe where mutants have never existed. So I would love to see them move forward as, okay, we have to hide who we are and what we are, because if people find out, the same thing that happened over there is going to happen over here. And then like use that and build up a whole new X-Men team and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, that is great. Because Element said Gambit, didn't he?
Yeah.
He
said Gambit.
That was actually my next choice.
Oh my god.
Dude. I was you want to know why I didn't say Gambit?
Why?
Because you said someone we've seen before, and the version of Gambit that we had in X Wolverine Origins was not it for me. But had you not said that, I actually would have said Gambit.
No way.
Do you know what? Yeah,
that's hilarious.
You two need to do some sort of like show or something where you genuinely try and like see if you answer the same thing to like multiple questions. Like, if you know what I'm trying to say, like who. If you could have one person, if you say, kind of like a trivia thing, just to see how genuine, like, connected you are.
It does get funny sometimes.
Like
I can't believe you can say Gambit. That's so bizarre.
That was quite funny too. In fact, I say Gambit, you instantly were like, I was going to say him.
Also, of any character I would love to see with the symbiote, I want to see Gambit with the symbiote. Because I think that would be super dope to maybe not the most incredibly powerful thing, but like, what if he can charge things with kinetic energy with his hands, right? What if he can charge them with the symbiote as well? What if he can reach out a tendril, grab that thing, and throw it charge? I just think it would be really really sweet.
That's good.
I mean, we can wrap it up now if you want. You can enjoy the rest of your day. I'm gonna be a bit annoyed because I'm not gonna have time to record that video on that prison scene, so you're going to beat me to it. But no, I want to just quickly say thank you so much for coming on. I've loved it. You've probably hated it, but no,
it's been great. Always fun talking with awesome gentlemen, awesome gents like yourself, and big fans. And also this is more encouragement for me to step outside of Star Wars for content, because I've missed talking about a lot of these things. Because I love them.
I mean, you're welcome back whenever you want. Obviously,
I was just gonna say, like, I appreciate you coming on, and you're a great friend. So I don't want to get cheesy here, but I said this to Element, you're a great friend, and I'm so glad I met you.
I'm happy to have all of you in my life as well, and making content has truly changed my life.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, you're welcome back on whenever. Obviously, you and Connor talk a lot more. If you ever want to come on and just talk about anything, shoot either him or myself a message and we'll respond easy. But I want to say thank you so much for coming on. Been brilliant. Is there anything you wanted to say just before, or?
Go on, plug Dyad.
For anyone, me and Element 7, who you probably heard last week or so.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have a podcast together called Dyad and the Force, and we go live Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you're listening to this, you might be in the UK. You'll have to do the math on that.
It's like it's 1 o'clock in the night. So
so stay up and or watch later. It gets posted after that to wherever pods are cast. I also have another one called the High Ground Podcast, which is Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we always pick a topic and just get some awesome people and just
I'm just thinking, like, the fact you've done that nearly every Wednesday for coming up 2 years, that is commitment, and I'm very happy with how good it's going.
It is actually surprising. I did stop for a little while when I was in the hospital for COVID.
Understandably.
But yeah, that, and then also, follow my YouTube channel. I'm trying to make a lot more content. And also I'm gonna be doing a lot more behind the scenes stuff. You guys are gonna get to see my whole setup. My setup is actually pretty dope, and my desk goes up and down, and I have like a treadmill underneath it and all this cool stuff. But yeah, that's all that stuff is coming. Thank you guys for having me on.
It's
I
been an
will
honor.
be coming back on for Thor: Love and Thunder, because that Jason Aaron run is incredible. But yeah, appreciate it, y'all.
All right, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.